NFL Week 5 review. That's what we'll be doing today, reviewing the Week 5 games through a fantasy football landscape. I do this every Monday. Of course, don't review the Monday games, but is what it is. So, hope everyone's doing well. Pretty good game, pretty good slate of games. You know, we had some high scoring games. Finally, NFL offenses seem to be getting it together. Things kicked off Week 5 with Vikings Jets in London. Quickly, we'll look at the box score of these games before we get into the usage stats. The big games from the Jets: Garrett Wilson, 100 yards, 13 receptions, 1 touchdown. You know, that's basically what Cooper Kupp did Week 1. Now, of course, some of this usage came with the game kind of out of hand. The Jets trailing. Allen Lazard scores yet another touchdown. Breece Hall, absolutely nothing on the day. Not much for Braylon Allen either. On the Vikings side, not really a good game for anyone. Aaron Jones gets hurt in this one, so something to monitor there. Ty Chandler takes over. They're giving CJ Ham, I think he's the fullback, some carries. Justin Jefferson, 6 receptions, 92 yards. A okay day. You know, pretty good day for most players, but for Jefferson standards, no touchdown, breaks his touchdown streak. Getting into the route run data, Jalen Naylor operated clear 3. If you remember last week, Brandon Powell and Trent Sherfield were playing some. Josh Oliver and Johnny Munt continue to split routes run. Aaron Jones gets hurt after seeing 7 carries and 1 target. Ty Chandler takes over, 13 carries, 2 targets. On the Jets side, Malachi Corley, their 3rd-round rookie, was a healthy and active in this game. So not great for him. He is a rookie. Xavier Gibson also barely played. It's pretty strictly Lazard, Wilson, and Mike Williams running routes now for the Jets. Mike Williams, I believe a season high, 46 routes run. So percentage-wise, he seems to be getting healthier. 21 targets for Garrett Wilson. Now, the Vikings defense is, with Brian Flores, it's a blitz-heavy scheme usually. They're really hard to run on, so teams tend to pass more against them anyways. But still, 21 targets, insane. Some of this is probably the squeaky wheel as well. Conklin, 8 targets, 45 routes run. Not bad for him. Breece Hall, 36 route runs, only 4 targets, 9 carries. Brandon Allen, only 19 snaps, so really not great for him. Kind of a ho-hum game. Moving on. By the way, guys, if you like this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'm on the road to 6K. Only 100 more people left. And all this usage stats is courtesy of PFF. Bears versus the Panthers was our next game. A lot to talk about in this game. Bears absolutely trounced the Panthers 36-10. Andy Dalton ends up getting benched in this one, and Bryce Young takes over and looks okay. You know, Bears are probably playing prevent. Chuba Hubbard, again, gets home, 13 carries, 97 yards, a touchdown. He might be more annoying to Jonathan Brooks owners than they want him to be. Someone named Jalen Cocker led them in receptions. I legitimately don't know who he is. I draft teams all year long. First, I'm really hearing of him. Don't know what that is at all. Deontay Johnson, bust, 3 receptions, 23 yards. Bears defense is just very legit. They were my favorite defense play of the week. They didn't score a touchdown, but yeah, they absolutely beat up on the Panthers. Caleb Williams turns in an awesome game, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift continues to stack good games, 21 carries, 73 yards, a touchdown, 2 receptions, 47 yards. DJ Moore in a revenge game, 5 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. So pretty great day from most of the Bears pieces. Getting into the usage, targets were 8-6-6 for Keenan, Moore, and Rome. Snaps played was pretty identical. Routes run was pretty identical. Some logic seems to have prevailed for the Bears, where Cole Kmet is running near a full complement of routes now, and Gerald Everett is not playing that much. Khalil Herbert, not a factor in this team. Wouldn't be surprised if he actually is traded at the trade deadline. If you can get a team like the Chiefs desperate enough, a team, maybe the Cowboys, maybe if Zach Moss's injury is serious, maybe the Bengals. Um, I don't know what you would get for him, but Khalil Herbert just lost his job basically to Roshan, where Swift still playing the most snaps, still running the most routes, still getting the most carries. But Roshan, a respectable 10 carries to Swift's 21, 11 routes to Swift's 21. Where Roshan does well is he pass protects. That keeps you on the field in the NFL. And he's a big back. He's like 230 pounds. Of course, he's going to get some short yardage looks because of that. So, encouraging day for the Bears. Don't know what to glean from it since they played the Panthers, but Bears get the Jags this week and then the bye. And then pretty good schedule with like games against like Washington upcoming. So potentially Caleb has taken a step. And hopefully after that bye, we see him hitting the ground running. For the I'm getting Jalen Coker is his name. Yeah, so Xavier Legette got hurt in this game. That is now coming back to me. And I guess with no Adam Thielen, he is their wide receiver 4. So David Moore I've heard about before, but Jalen Coker is so the Panthers, not a good team and just also depleted. No Adam Thielen, who could be traded at the trade deadline. Deontay Johnson could be traded at the trade deadline as well. Jonathan Mingo, really bad rookie year, a little bit better sophomore year. But with no Legette going out of the game after only 12 routes run, seems like Jalen Coker is the 3. Don't think you want anyone on the Panthers. Jatavian Sanders, pretty noteworthy for best ball that he seems to be running the most routes now. Now, I don't know if Tommy Tremble got hurt because I do remember seeing him take a huge hit. So I don't know if this is just Sanders earning a role or if Tremble got hurt. And then usage continues to be pretty split for Chuba and Sanders as far as snaps played. But Chuba getting way more carries, 12 to Sanders 2, running an equal amount of routes. Sanders probably goes to 0 when Jonathan Brooks is activated. And yeah, Bryce Young gets 9 snaps. Don't know if he will get the start moving forward. Moving on. Ravens at Bengals, an absolute shootout. And we continue to question, why does the NFL schedule all the good games in the 1 p.m. and then give us games like Giants, Seahawks in the 4 p.m. slot? At least Bills, Texans, Ravens, Bengals, like put one of these games in the 4 p.m. slot. So Lamar in a trailing game script throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry didn't have a good day until overtime. He got like a 50-yard carry in overtime, which makes his day look a lot better. 15 carries, scored a 1-inch touchdown, and then got 50 or 60 rushing yards in overtime to turn in a respectable 90 yards. Justice Hill, surprisingly, not used as much in this trailing game script. Zay Flowers continues to be the number 1 receiver for the Ravens. 7 catches, 111 yards. Charlie Kohler had a big touchdown and a big catch. Rashad Bateman scored. Mark Andrews turned in a respectable box score, but looking into the usage, we're not going to be as impressed with this. And then Isaiah Likely, 2 touchdowns, both of them of the short variety. On the Bengals side, Joe Burrow goes absolutely nuclear, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Zach Moss got hurt in this one. Believe it is a high ankle sprain for him. So don't know how severe that is, but we're going to assume Chase Brown will be near workhorse role until Moss is able to return. Jamar Chase. Yeah, this is why I had Chase as the 103. And my 101 last year is Jamar Chase's best year was his rookie year. He just, quite frankly, can create for himself unlike Justin Jefferson. Maybe he is the best route runner. Maybe he is the best natural wide receiver. But Jefferson does not have the yards after catch ability of a Chase, where Chase literally caught a 1-yard ball, scored a touchdown. Yeah, Moss did come back from his injury, guys, but it's really not that uncommon for players to play on adrenaline, come back and play a little bit, and then that subsides, and they're like, oh, crap, like this is like a 2-week injury I shouldn't have played through. But yeah, so Chase, absolute nuclear game. I think he's the highest first round advance rate guy now. And with the Bengals, who are number 2 in neutral pass rate after the Seahawks, also 1-4, we think the big Chase games are going to continue as long as Burrow's healthy, Chase is healthy, Higgins is healthy. Higgins also scores 2 touchdowns. Good game for him. No one else did much except for Chase Brown, got a reception touchdown. And Eric All, I think he played, like, digging into the usage here. Zay Flowers runs the most routes, 11 targets. Rashad Bateman, 8 targets. What I was talking about with Mark Andrews is 23 routes run, so less than Bateman, less than Flowers, less than Likely. 5 targets on a day where Lamar threw it. How many times did he throw it? He threw it a lot. 42 times. Not that impressive of a target share, So took a lot to get this big game from Andrews. Maybe he stacks it going forward. Maybe he gets more healthy. But yeah, I would, if you could sell high, take this opportunity, I would do it. Yeah, I was a little surprised to see Justice Hill only 1 target. He's going to be boom bust. On the Bengals side, Andre Yoshivas continues to go towards 0 with Higgins and Chase being target dominant. The Mike Gesicki versus Eric All. Eric All played more than Gesicki, but ran less routes. So Eric All is the rookie there. Drew Sample is the blocking tight end. Zach Moss still had more snaps than Chase Brown. I don't know what quarter he got hurt in. Maybe it was the 3rd quarter. Maybe it was the 4th quarter. But Chase Brown took over. And then, yeah, I mean, this loss I put squarely on the Bengals head coach. I think people wanted to hate on the Bills, and I think that's defensible. But I think what the Bengals did is far worse, where on a day that Joe Burrow and the passing game is your offense, you turn over Lamar in overtime. You have a chance to ice the game. You're looking at maybe a 50-yard field goal, and you run the ball 3 straight times, kick a field goal, miss, and then lose the game. You have to have Joe Burrow passing at least once, preferably twice in that situation. Just understand your offense goes through Joe Burrow and the passing game, So I would be really disappointed. I would want a new head coach if I was a Bengals fan. Moving on. And then, yeah, Derrick Henry scored another touchdown. Honestly, wasn't that efficient until he got that overtime run. So this is if he continues to be inefficient, get game scripted out, he's going to be boom bust. And it shouldn't be surprised that an older running back could slow down at any point. Texans, Bills. Bad loss for my Bills. This was a game of 2 halves where in the first half, the Bills were a disaster. They were down 17-3. Honestly, nothing went their way. Some near misses where this game should have been over at half. The Bills stopped the Texans on 4th down to where the Texans could have scored a field goal at least, if not a touchdown. So that was a huge turnover. Josh Allen, for some reason, they built the offense out of Matt Collins targets, and he couldn't track the ball deep. So just missed Matt Collins on a 60-yard throw. Dalton Kincaid versus a linebacker, streaking down the field for a 70-yard touchdown. Josh Allen underthrows Kincaid by about a foot. It was a great play by the linebacker to keep up with Kincaid, but not a great day for Kincaid. But the big days are going to come where there's just simply not that many tight ends running vertical routes like him. Kelsey, that's like vintage Kelsey, where the fact that you can get a 70-yard touchdown out of Kincaid bears well for his future. And the fact that outside of Khalil Shakir, who didn't play in this game, the Bills are struggling at the wide receiver position. Keon Coleman, 1 catch, 49-yard touchdown. Nice to see him offer some yak. James Cook had a good day, 20 carries, 82 yards. The Texans, this was also a tale of 2 halves. Nico Collins in the first half absolutely roast the Bills rookie safety for a 70-yard touchdown to Nico. But once Nico went out, the Texans did not look good at all. They weren't getting first downs much. Dari Ngumbawale was beating the Bills on a lot of screens. He had 57 yards. Diggs' box score looks okay. 6 receptions, 82 yards. But no, like the Texans were very unimpressive without Nico. He hurt his hamstring, pulled up lame after scoring. So gonna guess that's a 2-week injury or so. Hope he gets back to full health. He's clearly in the discussion for one of the best wide receivers in football. Tank Dell. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a little bit the story of Mark Andrews, where Tank Dell broke his leg last year. Not surprising that he's slow to start the year. Also was shot. So disappointing for Tank Dell managers, myself included, but I gotta expect that better days will be ahead. Digging into the usage, Nico got hurt early. You could see he only ran 5 routes. He was on par to like score 40 points. Quite disappointing for John Mechie, where, John Mechie, a second round draft pick, teams inquired about trading him. The Texans cut Noah Brown, who was very serviceable, but no. Xavier Hutchin, I think he was a 6th round draft pick last year, took over as the 3rd wide receiver. Robert Woods barely played. He was like the punt returner. Dalton Schultz, 36 routes run, 6 targets, so he was heavily involved. And then, yeah, you could see Darian Gubawale, 27 routes, 7 targets, 15 carries. I wouldn't chase this. This is kind of like how you beat the Bills, or how I see a lot of teams beating the Bills, is the Bills have an aggressive D-line and teams repeatedly kill them on screen passes. So Joe Mixon should return soon. Dameon Pierce should return soon. So maybe Dari remains involved, but probably not. Cam Akers scored a rushing touchdown. Probably nothing there. Yeah, questionable usage here for Buffalo with no Shakir. Kincaid, 28 routes run. Most on the team, but like not enough for where Josh Allen threw the ball 30 times. Honestly, I've seen this number cited smaller, so don't know what's going on here, where I had it as low as 60% in some places. Honestly, 28 routes out of 30 routes would be fine, but want him to, I guess he's just not playing a full complement of snaps is more what it is, but he is running the routes. So 38 snaps out of 61 total. Honestly, 28 routes out of 30 pass attempts is totally fine. So I think the snaps is getting overblown. Curtis Samuel, I think turf toe is still a problem here. He's being used as a gadget wide receiver. Mac Hollins is simply not a number 1 wide receiver, but you want to talk about how do the Bills passing game fail in fantasy? It's if this continues for Mac Hollins, because I mean, Mac Hollins could have had a huge day in fantasy football if he could track the ball a little bit better or catch a little bit better. With no Khalil Shakir, Tyler Shavers, MVS were playing quite a bit. Dawson Knox continues to play, but do nothing. Ty Johnson played quite a bit. I think James Cook only running 14 routes. That's also pretty bad usage. Like James Cook is an explosive player with no Shakir. I think you got to just get him more involved than 3 targets on the day. So Josh Allen also did not play well in this one. People want to hate on Sean McDermott for passing the ball 3 times. Where, I mean, the Bills almost stole this win, right? Like they shouldn't have been in it. They tied the game up at half. They couldn't score a touchdown after turning the Texans over. All the momentum's going their way. They get the ball back with like 36 seconds. They need to run timeout or try to score a field goal. And I think it's more on Josh Allen than McDermott, where Josh Allen elected to throw the ball 3 times, like 20 yards. They punt and they lose. I don't agree with the revisionist history that they needed to run the ball 3 times there. They still are going to have to punt there probably. So disappointing loss for Buffalo. They'll probably be fine long term. They're 3-2. You got teams like the 49ers are 2-3. The Bengals are 1-4. So things should be fine. But also worrying that, yeah, I mean, this is a mini reset year for Buffalo, where they have a lot of dead money tied up with Stephon Diggs. And I think they're reaping some bad decisions. Like Dawson Knox is a friend of Josh Allen. He's not a guy to pay money to which they did. I think it's also was pretty bad to pay Von Miller as a big offseason piece. You need to get wide receivers when you have Josh Allen as your quarterback. Invest at that position. So probably a mini reset year here. They're still going to be competitive, but they need to get some more talent in their wide receiver room. Possibly they'll be buying at the trade deadline. And Joe Brady, like I gave Joe Brady his flowers as the OC. He's got to be better too, in my mind. Moving on, Jags at the Colts. Jags pull out their first win of the season in a thriller here in overtime, 37-34. I think it was overtime. No, maybe they won as time expired. Flacco, huge day, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns. Trey Sermon scored a touchdown. Alec Pierce, huge day, 130 yards, a touchdown on 3 catches. Michael Pittman, touchdown. Josh Downs, 9 for 69. Mo Alley Cox, touchdown. So, yeah, Joe Flacco, man, like, what is he, like a top 16 quarterback? Jags, Trevor Lawrence had a good day, 371 and 2. Tank Bigsby had a huge day, 100 yards and 2. ETN continues to not do great. Brian Thomas Jr., a huge day, 5 catches, 122 yards, a touchdown, including like a 90-yard touchdown. Kirk had an okay day in the box score, 4 for 88, but looking at the usage, we're not going to love it. Brenton Strange scored a touchdown with no Ingram. So, yeah, at the Jag side here, Kirk only played 31 of 58 snaps. Not great. Did run 23 of 34 routes, though. So, although his snaps is not 100%, his route run is okay. Brian Thomas Jr. also not, 27 of 34 routes. Gabe Davis, 29 of 34. So, they're letting they're letting Tim Jones run a little bit. Parker Washington run a little bit. Devin Duvernay run a little bit. Honestly, a lot of offenses are doing this where they just kind of let some guys take some snaps just to keep their guys fresh. So, I don't know. But Brian Thomas Jr., probably just the wide receiver 1 going forward. It was a really good matchup against the cover 3 Colts for him. But, Kirk still maybe a trade deadline sell if the Jags lose another game. We're assuming Brenton Strange goes to 0 once Evan Ingram is back. ETN, 15 routes run, 7 targets, 6 carries. Tank Bigsby, 13 carries to ETN 6. So ETN continues to be the passing down back, but this is just a full timeshare. And now Dearness Johnson's also getting some snaps, which is just really bad for ETN as like a 4th round pick in fantasy drafts. Josh Downs, 35 routes, 12 targets. So, yeah, he might just be the wide receiver 1 over Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman remains a pretty bad fantasy pick. Score a touchdown, but and then Trey Sermon, 10 carries to Tyler Goodson's 5, 6 targets to Tyler Goodson's 3. So he pretty clear RB2 there. Goodson did play quite a bit though. And then Adonai Mitchell, 7 targets and only 12 routes run. So you got to assume he starts playing more. But the question is, at whose expense? Like, Alec Pierce continues to only 3 targets, but he almost got them the win in this game. He scored like a 80-yard touchdown from Flacco. And yeah, I think we're going to see Anthony Richardson probably next week, despite Flacco's great game. Moving on, Dolphins versus Patriots. I'll try to make this one quick. This was the perfect spot for the Patriots to start Drake May against a terrible Miami defense. They didn't. But now we're getting coach speak that May might start next week. So Achane gets, I think, concussed in this one, leading to Raheem Mostert, 19 carries for 80 yards. Jalen Wright, the rookie, 13 carries for 86 yards. So that's encouraging to see from him. Passing game, Tyreek, 6 for 69. Jonnu, 5 for 62. Waddle, 4 for 46. Honestly, best you can hope for until Tua is back. Odell played. Didn't get any targets, though. Patriots, Kendrick Bourne, active, led to KJ Osborne, inactive. So Kendrick Bourne torn his ACL last year, was their wide receiver 1 last year. Going to expect his usage to ramp up. Ramondre Stevenson, Didn't start the game, but was the RB1 still. 12 carries, 89 yards, a touchdown, including a long one. Demario Douglas, 6 for 59. Keyshawn Boutte also played over KJ Osborne. Looking at the usage real quick. So Malik Washington also active in his first game. No targets. Odell off IR. 2 targets, no catches. Jonnu, 7 targets for 21 routes run. Jalen Wright, 13 carries to Mostert's 19, 10 routes to Mostert's 17. So he will be the RB2. I think Jeff Wilson's still banged up, but maybe he was a healthy scratch. I honestly don't know. And then, yeah, HM, I think it was a concussion, so hope he is okay. With no KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne, only 10 routes. He's going to be like Mike Williams. Maybe in 3 to 4 weeks, he's running a full complement of routes, hopefully with Drake May at quarterback. Keyshawn Boutte, I think it's Boutte. 22 routes run. He probably goes to 0 as Bourne trends up. Jalen Polk, you love to see it from the rookie. 37 routes, 6 targets. Hunter Henry, 32 routes, 4 targets. And then Gibson and Ramondre split this up, 28 snaps apiece. Ramondre, though, 12 carries to Gibson's 6, 4 targets to Gibson's 1. Oh, yeah, and the Josh Allen one definitely got concussed at the end of the game. Should not have let him back in the game. NFL prepared to or pretended to care about concussions for 1 year. Seems like that's over. Moving on. Commanders beat the brakes off the Browns. Seems like Kevin Stefanski has no power as the Browns head coach, or he was a big reason that the Browns got Deshaun Watson, and so he's pot committed, where, if you're the one saying, hey, we got to go get this guy, and then that guy sucks and you bench him, you're going to be fired probably. So he's probably, teams try to optimize for keeping their job. And also, like, on the Patriots, I wanted to say this, where, Kraft is no spring chicken, and although I think Kraft's son is the owner of the Patriots, I think he's going to keep the team. But if he sells and Mayo doesn't look, if Kraft dies and his son sells the team and Mayo doesn't have May looking good, new ownership probably just chooses their own head coach. So there should be urgency from him to have May out there and looking okay. Same thing with Stefanski, where if he thinks that playing Jameis Winston would mean he's 100% fired next year, he's going to go down with Deshaun and just pray he gets better. Unfortunately, it's probably not coming. 125 yards, a touchdown. Jerome Ford, I don't know what's up with the Jerome Ford usage. 1 week it's at 80%. This week it was not. They played 3 guys. Pierre Strong was healthy again. Amari Cooper, 4 for 60. Jordan Aikens scored a touchdown with Njoku. Played this game, but then I think he got an MRI. So he I think he got banged up again in this one. Jaden Daniels continues to look lights out. 238 yards, a touchdown. 11 for 82 on the ground. Austin Eckler continues to show that, his high ankle sprain was a big reason he was bad last year. 6 or 67, so explosive guy. Brian Robinson, not explosive, but he gets the 2 goal line touchdowns. Jeremy McNichols also involved, so maybe this is now a 3-headed monster. Brian Robinson was banged up, though, so I don't know. If Jeremy McNichols remains involved, that's bad for Eckler and Brian Robinson. I also don't know right now. Maybe McNichols only played when this game was out of hand, in which case you don't care about it. Terry, 4 for 112. Huge bomb from Jaden Daniels to him. Dami Brown, huge bomb from Jaden Daniels as well. Digging into the usage. Yeah. Stefanski signed a new contract. That doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter. You can sign a contract and be fired if someone's better available. Terry McLaurin, 8 targets, 28 routes run. Again, this game got out of hand, so looks like Jeremy McNichols only got 7. it was pretty even. So honestly, I don't know. I'll need to dig into when these carries came. If it came with the game out of hand, you don't care. If this is like just a consistent three-headed thing, you really do care. Ben Sinnott, 24 snaps. He's blocking more though than you want. Zach Ertz is the receiving tight end and probably will be. Like he's 8 targets. Now, possibly this could be like a Trey McBride situation where towards the end of the year, the Commanders pass the torch to Sinnott. But I mean, the Commanders are going to be a playoff team, it looks like. So the difference is the Cardinals were not a playoff team. So they wanted to look at their rookie. And I don't know if that happens for Sinnott. John Bates also continues to block a lot for them. And then Olamide Zaccheaus, he had a good game last week. That was a mirage. Really tough starts and manage the passing game pieces except for Terry. Yeah, people are saying Daniels got pulled early, so starters stopped playing in the fourth quarter. On the Browns, continues to be really only 3 wide receivers. Cedric Tillman, 10 routes, but probably came in the blowout. I think Njoku got banged up some point here because he ran 21 routes. Akins ran 13. And then, yeah, Jerome Ford, Deontay Foreman, Pierre Strong. Ford played the most snaps, ran the most routes, saw the most targets, but 9 carries apiece between him and Foreman. Again, I don't know when these Foreman carries came. Maybe they came with the game out of hand. But not great for Ford and not great for the Browns offense that they look like shit and Deshaun Watson looks like shit. Like, God, please let Jameis get in there. You know, Jameis has got his own off-field issues, but it's got to be better than what Deshaun's put on tape. And, you know, very small possibility that the Commanders' defense is just better than we thought. You know, maybe it took them a couple games. Their secondary has been terrible, but maybe they've turned it around a little bit. Moving on, Broncos, the 3-2 Broncos beat down on the Raiders. Gardner Minshew got benched in this one again. So I think we're going to see an Aiden O'Connell start. I don't think you bench Gardner a second time and let him start again. With no Zamir White, Alexander Mattison, 15 carries, only 38 yards. Amir Abdullah was also involved. Brock Bowers, 897-1. Could have had a second touchdown. Threw a pick 6 at the 1-yard line to Patrick Surtain. The touchdown he did score, I don't think it's exactly replicable, where Gardner Minshew threw up a, off his back foot, threw a ball up into the air, corner or safety in front of Brock Bowers, mistimes the jump, leads to Brock Bowers catching the ball and scoring a long touchdown. So Brock Bowers honestly might be a sell high for me. Like he is in the mix for tight end 1 with no Devontae Adams, but still, like if you can use Bowers to go get maybe Bowers and Christian Kirk for Nico Collins, if someone's worried about the injury, I would do that in a heartbeat to get a guy like Nico, or maybe a guy like AJ Brown if someone's worried about the injury off the bye. Jacoby Myers, 6 for 72, pretty good for him. Trey Tucker, nothing doing today. Digging into the routes. Oh yeah, Greg Dulcich was a healthy scratch, a tight end for the Broncos. I had drafted him a lot. Just kind of hoping he could be a PPR scam. So Broncos clearly weren't happy with what they were getting from him. Maybe he's traded at the trade deadline. If the Broncos are tired with him, he was a 2nd or 3rd round pick only a couple years ago, dealt with injuries. So could see him being shipped out, maybe helping him. Yeah, I mean, we didn't look at the Broncos side of stats. Bo Nix, 206-2. Javonte Williams, a good day, 13 carries, 61 yards. Also chipped in 5 receptions for 50 yards. So that's what people were drafting Javonte for, these receptions. It did come against the Raiders, who have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. And Bo Nix continues to be a sneaky, decent best ball pick. 2 games above 20 points this year out of 5 games played. I don't know how sustainable it is because he scored 3 rushing touchdowns, which is also bad for the running backs if Nix is going to be stealing both carries and rushing touchdowns. But yeah, he's looking like a perfectly fine 18th to 20th round pick right now. Nothing really going for the receivers in this one. Little Jordan Humphrey had a good play. Digging into the usage, kind of a mess here for the Broncos. So with no Tyler Bidet, it was just Javonte and Jaleel. Blake Watson did not play. 13 carries for Javonte, Jaleel 6. 6 targets to Jaleel's 3. Troy Franklin just was missed on like a 40-yard touchdown or so. So encouraging for him. 4, 2, 2, 2. Like the targets are just so spread here other than Javonte. Tight ends, you don't care about any of these guys with no Dulcich either. And honestly, I still don't think you want pieces from the Broncos. Somehow they're 3-2. I don't think they'll remain a playoff team, though. At the Raiders side, Jacoby Myers saw 9 targets. Brock Bowers saw 12. Alexander Madison, 15 carries to Amir's 5. 3 targets apiece with Amir Abdullah. So, yeah, definitely disappointing for the Dylan Lobby Hive, where he's still not playing as the pass-catching back because Amir Abdullah is. And DJ Turner operated as the wide receiver 3. Don't think we care. Aiden O'Connell, 26 snaps to Gardner Minshew's 44. I'm assuming we're going to get O'Connell next week. And also, Antonio Pierce era, off to a terrible start. Wouldn't be surprised if he's a one and done. Cardinals at 49ers. I mean, no one finds a way to lose winnable games like the 49ers. Absolutely should not have lost this game at all. They were up 23-10 at half and melted down. Kyler scores a long rushing touchdown on this one. Threw for 200 yards. James Conner, 86 yards, 19 carries. Some good, tough running. Kyler, 83 yards on the ground. Michael Wilson, the biggest receiver. Trey McBride ends up dropping a touchdown in this one. Turned in 6 catches for 53 yards. Brandon Ayuk, the death of Brandon Ayuk has been greatly exaggerated. Big reason why my best ball advance rates went up is I drafted a lot of Ayuk and Chase. They hadn't been doing a lot. Now they smashed. Purdy, 244 and 1. I think they went away from the pass too much, where the pass, like they were, Ayuk had 93 reception yards in the first quarter. Continue going back to him. Mason, 14 carries for 89 yards. Good to see Isaac Rendo go 5 for 22. He is a very talented rookie. He's pretty raw, though. Probably going to get CMC back, so he probably goes to 0, but nice to see that he's, he fumbled last game, so he's not in the permanent doghouse. Brock Purdy, 33 yards on the ground. I mean, that's some nice, that's 3 fantasy points, so that's pretty nice for his floor there. Ayuk, 8 for 147. Absolutely baller stuff. George Kittle, 864 and 1. Debo only 1 catch for 11 yards, so not sure what's going on there. 3 carries for 9 yards. He has been banged up, but his advanced stats are also pretty disappointing. Digging into the usage, Pascal and Chris Moore, don't think they've been playing a lot. They played a little bit in this one. 6 targets for Michael Wilson, 7 for Marvin, 8 targets for Trey McBride. Elijah Higgins dropped a end zone touchdown, or I think he was pushed out of bounds, something like that. 22 routes run, 3 targets for James Conner. He's not been running a super high amount of routes, so pretty nice to see from him. Didn't get any Trey Benson, the 3rd-round rookie in this one. Amari DeMarcado is the 2nd running back currently. On the 49ers, Ayuk, 38 routes run, most on the team. Kittle, 2nd most on the team with 34. 11 and 12 targets for those 2. Juwan Jennings, down to 26 routes. So, yeah, he's being squeezed now that Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle are healthy. This is probably going to be whack-a-mole with 49ers, where Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, 2 of them can have good to great games, but hard for all 3 to get there. Jordan Mason, 25 routes run, only 1 target. So encouraging to see him running so many routes. Of course, CMC might return. Kyle Juszczyk, 22 routes run, no targets. So Mason should have had a better day. Could have had a touchdown or two. Fumbled, I think. Didn't get there. 49ers lose. Just, I mean, no reason the 49ers should be 2-3. They're going to be fine long term, but still. Moving on. Packers at Rams. Good game. Packers squeeze it out 24-19. No Christian Watson for them. They also made Romeo Doubs a healthy inactive. They suspended him actually for the game because Romeo Doubs threw a fit that he's not being used more or something. And he got suspended. So, I mean, Packers 2-2. Like, they needed to win this game. They clearly don't think Romeo Doubs is that important. Everyone thought it was going to be Dontavian Wicks' turn. Not so fast. Jordan Love, 24-2. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 73-1. Jaden Reed continues to be a grown-ass man, 4 for 78. Tucker Kraft, the biggest day of anyone, 4 receptions, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a very long touchdown. So, yeah, I said he's a top 12 tight end going forward, and that might be underselling him. Don't think we had Luke Musgrave, and Musgrave is going to play some. So we're not going to see these huge games from Kraft always, but with no Christian Watson, no Dobbs, really narrows the target tree. Wicks, a very disappointing 2 for 20 in the box score. On the Rams, Kyren Williams continues to be inevitable, the punt returner for the Rams. 22 carries, 100 yards, a touchdown. Also chipped in only 1 catch. Blake Corum sighting. 5 carries, 25 yards. Got a carry at the goal line twice. Stuffed at the 1 twice. Or he, got a carry at the 5, got down to the 1. They sub Kyren in. Kyren scores. So great sign for Blake Corum that he's now playing. I'm sure the Rams realize that they can't screw around with Ronnie Rivers. They are 1-4. If they are going to go on a playoff run, they need to play their best players. Tutu Atwell, 6 for 58. Just missed on a deep one. Jordan Whittington, 7 for 89. Caught a deep pass. Colby Parkinson, 7 for 52. Kupp should be back week 6, probably week 7. So not this week, but the next week. And then Puka Nacua anywhere from week 8 to 9. Rams might be sellers at the trade deadline. Although they're probably too proud to do it. So Wicks, good usage, 24 routes, 6 targets, just a bad box score. It's going to happen with wide receivers. People thought Bo Melton was going to be the wide receiver 3. Not so fast. It is Malik Heath getting the nod here. 21 routes to Bo Melton's 13. Jaden Reed, 6 targets, made an insane catch in triple coverage from the Rams to get down to the 1. Josh Jacobs got a touchdown because of that. 19 carries on the day. Emmanuel Wilson, 6 carries, 6 routes. So he continues to be the RB2 until Marshawn Lloyd is off IR. And then, Tucker Kraft, 23 routes run in the mix for top on the team, 6 targets, played the most snaps on offense after Love. For the Rams, Demarcus Robinson continues to win sprint, 47 routes, 5 targets. Tyler Johnson continues to trend towards 0. Whittington and Tutu are the wide receiver 1 and 2 until Kupp and Puka are back. And my guess is that, Whittington's kind of a Puka and Kupp kind of guy. So Tutu probably remains as the 3 unless they really value Demarcus Robinson's ability to block and win sprint. And then, Colby Parkinson, a startable tight end in fantasy. And Blake Corum, 5 routes run, 5 carries. So expecting this to trend up. Moving on, the Giants with a huge win over the Seahawks. This happens all the time. Where the Giants, why is Google not giving me this game? The Giants are such a big media market where if I type Giants first, I get a bunch of New York Post drivel. But if I type Seahawks first, I get what I want. Huge win for the Giants. And this happens all the time where Seahawks had a huge game against the Lions. A big emotional game probably for them. And then they lay a stinker the next week. Credit to the Giants, though. No Malik Neighbors in this one. Did not matter. Daniel Jones, 257-2. Chipped in 38 yards on the ground. He's not been running as much, so good to see the 11 carries. No Devin Singletary either. Tyrone Tracy, 18 carries, 129 yards. Yeah, I said this in the offseason where Singletary's just not explosive enough, athletic enough to score long touchdowns. You know who is? Tyrone Tracy. Really athletic guy, really fast guy. Still don't know how good the Giants will be, but I don't think you put him back in the bottle. He's going to remain heavily involved with Singletary when he is healthy. Eric Gray was getting some reception work, 3 catches for 50 yards. Darius Slayton, 122 and 1. Wan'Dale Robinson, 636 and 1. And Theo Johnson, the rookie tight end, not dead, 5 for 48. Good to see. On the Seahawks, they continue to be number 1 in neutral pass rate, 284 and 1 from Geno. Also chipped in 72 yards on the ground. Kind of a mirage. I doubt Geno's going to be doing that a lot. He had like several very long runs. Really bad day for Ken Walker, 5 for 19. Yeah, I thought Ken Walker was questionable chalk in fantasy, where the Giants front 7 is very legit. Their secondary is also like they got some pieces. So this Giants defense, pretty decent unit, honestly. Ken Walker did get there in the receiving game, though. 7 for 57. Zach Charbonnet, 3 for 19. Tyler Lockett, 475. Metcalf, 455. A little disappointing for him. And JSN got a touchdown at the end of the game there. Yeah, so, I mean, the Giants, maybe they'll be like the 7th playoff team. But good to see from them. Cowboys at Steelers. Gonna be honest, I fell asleep in the fourth quarter for this one. Dak, 352 and 2. So, yeah, I thought Dak, Lamb, Burrow, Chase, like these were like such great prices in best ball. Love to see the thesis working out. Huge day from Rico Dowdle. 20 carries, 87 yards. Zeke is going towards 0, but I was a little bit worried because Hunter Luepke was playing a lot on third downs and passing situations. Rico got more work there, so encouraging to see from him. Jalen Tolbert gets a touchdown as at the end of the game. 787-1 for him. Jake Ferguson continues to be in the mix for tight end 1 to me. 6 for 70. CeeDee Lamb a little bit disappointing. 5 for 62. And then Rico Dowdle, 227 and 1 in the passing game. So great to see there. Steelers. Yeah, I mean, I have Justin Fields. I drafted Justin Fields in best ball, but I kind of view him as a better in best ball guy. And I have some high stakes fantasy teams that I co-manage where I just don't think Steelers Justin Fields is Chicago Bears Justin Fields, where the Steelers, to me, want to win as many games 17-13 as possible. They want to, have as little possessions in the game. They want to play defense. They want to win close nail biters. They don't want Justin Fields going out there, throwing the ball deep, running a lot. And that really kills his fantasy upside and floor. He has very low floor if that continues because he's not a great passer and the Steelers don't have great receiving weapons. 131 and 2 touchdowns for him. Saves him a little bit in the box score. Only 6 carries for 27 yards. Najee continues to be terrible. 14 carries, 42 yards. With no Cordell Patterson, no Jalen Warren. We got Aaron Shanklin and Jonathan Ward. Ward, I think, fumbled, though, so see you later there. Connor Hayward scored a touchdown. Pat Freiermuth scored a touchdown. Ugh. Looking at the usage here, with no Brandon Cooks, it broke down to Lamb and Tolbert, locked-in starters, super high snap rate for them, super high route run, a lot of targets for them. Kevontae Turbin, he's kind of a, he's kind of like how the Bills are using Curtis Samuel is a little bit similar. He's not like a real wide receiver, but 15 routes, 5 targets, so maybe he gets more usage. Jalen Brooks was the assumed wide receiver 3, 19 routes, one target for him. Ryan Flournoy is a talented rookie. Not going to be surprised if he earns playing time over Brooks with Brandon Cooks has like a knee infection. He's on IR, so he could be out all year, honestly. Ferguson, 7 targets. No Cooks clears the way for him even further. And Rico Dowdle, 38 snaps. Zeke played 23. Hunter Luepke played 23. They each kind of like 16, 14. Like this is the like good things to see from Dowdle and bad things. The good is the 20 carries. The bad is that despite him looking good when he gets pass game opportunities, they continue to allow Zeke and Hunter Luepke to run all these routes. Luepke's also getting short yardage work as the fullback. So Dowdle owners really want either Zeke to go to fully zero or Luepke to go to fully zero, or at least let Rico play in the 2-minute drill in third downs. Like, not being out there on third downs is kind of tough. I'm assuming Luepke is the running back they want pass protecting, and Zeke is decent at that as well. So I don't know. Things to be encouraged about with Rico, and also a little bit annoyed, but obviously had a good day in fantasy. Yeah, I mean, really tough offense here, the Steelers, to be happy about anyone. George Pickens, only 20 routes run out of 31. He's going to be a boom bust guy on the Steelers. And he's just like, he's not a wide receiver who super separates. So, yeah, I mean, he had a good game against the Colts. It's going to be disappointing a lot of the time. Only 3 targets for Pat Freiermuth, saved by the touchdown by him. Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin continue to play a lot. They gotta activate at least Roman Wilson, their 3rd-round rookie. The Steelers just super conservative mindset. Like, Tomlin said, it's hard to get on a moving train. He probably, he's not going to let the rookie play until after the bye or something. And then, yeah, I mean, with the Steelers losing 2 in a row, I don't think they should turn to Russell Wilson, but it's not impossible. And if you do see Russell Wilson, I think that's a boost to all fantasy pieces, because he's just going to dump it off more. He's going to throw it more. He's not going to steal fantasy points from rushing it. So Fields is really the only fantasy piece to be interested in here. Maybe Pat Freiermuth, maybe George Pickens if the matchup's good enough. But yeah, tough offense overall. That's it. Last game tonight is Chiefs at Saints. A lot to look for there. Number one, this is the Chiefs' first game without Rashee Rice, who they're saying they might get back this year. Seems unlikely to me. So, going to be interested how involved Xavier Worthy is. The hope for him is that he starts getting a little bit used more on shallower routes. The fear is that they let Juju Smith-Schuster run 30 routes tonight. That's fully in the cards. Other thing to monitor is the Chiefs benching Carson Steele for real? Like, they benched him for a fumble. Was that just to send a message, or are they not going to let him play anymore? And it's just Kareem Hunt and Samaje Perine for the time being. Of course, the Saints, it's how run heavy are they going to be? You would assume they open up the pass a little bit against the Chiefs. And yeah, so it should be an interesting game. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Got another hurricane rolling our way in Florida, looking like it's going to hit on Wednesday. I live in the Tampa area. It's going to be a disaster in Tampa if it hits, just old houses. I'll have a best ball show tomorrow, just kind of digging into the best ball portfolio. My advance rate right now, we can pull it up real quick, but I've been saying no need to overreact to advance rates early on, and still, I'm not saying this as, oh, now you can react to advance rates. I still think you should not be overreacting to advance rates, but yeah, I think I roughly went my advance rates, I think roughly went from 6 to 8 to 12 to 14, and now I'm at 26. Why? Well, a couple reasons. One, I drafted a lot of Brandon Ayuk. 2, I drafted a lot of Jamar Chase, so that obviously helps. And then, of course, a guy like Saquon being on bye, Kamara not playing now yet. I mean, that is overinflating my advance rate a little bit as well, where it will go down a little bit. But Jason and Ayuk continue to score, mine will go up. Pretty crazy how when more than just 3 players score fantasy points, advance rates tend to smooth out. Yeah. So don't worry if your advance rates are down. Only really takes 1 week from a player you drafted a lot to smooth that out. Looking forward to a good game tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please make sure to like and subscribe. The link to join my Discord is in the YouTube description below as well. Have a great day.